Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and do celebrity legal news. Also, join me for my pop culture chats. If you'd like to support the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. My Venmo and Cash App is below. Thank you so much, and let's get started. Hello, 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 hello. Listen. You're not going to see me on the camera tonight because, baby, let me tell y'all what's going on over here. It is 91-degree weather. And in the middle of July, why is my air conditioner going kaput? So, therefore, the best way for me to stay cool is to keep as many lights off. So, therefore, you won't be able to see me in the dark. Look. See? And that's too dark to see me, so I'm going to stop my camera. But I am fine. I am just hot. So in order for it to stay as cool as possible, and plus I have all the windows open and I have fresh air coming through here, just a whole lot of stuff. So if you hear fans and noises, that is what it is. But good morning, good afternoon. Let's talk about Megan Thee Stallion. I have been covering this case. Megan has a case out. Megan Thee Stallion has a case out with a blogger named Milagro Cooper, and she is suing Milagro Cooper for defamation of character and harassment. So that case is pending, and that case has had a lot of twists and turns for Milagro. I do understand. I haven't gone back and peeped, so I'm just going to go back and just try to jog my memory about it. But she sued Milagro because she felt like Milagro was the mouthpiece for Tory Lanez. She felt like she was his extension on the outside to continue to harass her. So that case is going on. Milagro tried to get it dismissed. The judge was like, no. Her lawyers have since left. And so the case is still going on. I don't know if they're trying to settle or not, but that's what's happening. However, on the opposite end, Megan Thee Stallion is being sued by her former cameraman. He claims that when he worked for Megan, that there was a lot of employment issues, basically not being paid, if I remember. And I did a video on both of these incidents, so go back into my playlist to see those. But he talked about not being paid. Because he sued not only Megan Thee Stallion, he sued Rock Nation. So he talked about not being paid. He also talked about an incident where Megan Thee Stallion was in a very intimate relationship of the physical kind with someone in a car. I don't know if it was one of her dancers or not. I cannot remember, but it was to the point where he said that he felt uncomfortable. And so now he is suing. This case has been going on probably at this point a year, because you remember around this time last year, you had not only Megan Thee Stallion suing and being sued, you also had Lizzo being sued as well. Now, I noticed that a number of those suits have been dropped, but I think that there's at least one still on the books. Don't know if they're in the middle of settling, but I'm definitely going to figure that out, because again, all of this time right here is when like the Diddy stuff started happening and the Justin Baldoni stuff started happening. So these types of cases fell to the wayside. So we are definitely going to pick back up and see what's going on with them. So what is going on with Megan Thee Stallion, you say? Let me pull this article up from Billboard. All right. And make sure y'all hit this. So Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation can't dismiss Cameraman's lawsuit over alleged car schmecks incident. A federal judge says it's a salacious lawsuit set forth adequate discrimination and retaliation claims and can move forward. All right. Did I miss something? Oh, they want me to subscribe. I'm not subscribing. Let me go back real quick. All right, so let's go. Let's use this tab. This is by Yahoo, and it says Megan Thee Stallion hit with an explosive lawsuit from former employee. He was trapped in the car while she had intimate relations of a physical kind. It says Grammy Award winning rapper Meg Thee Stallion, whose real name is Megan Pete, and her record company Rock Nation are in legal hot water after a federal judge ruled that a workplace harassment and discrimination suit filed against her by former cameraman Emilio Garcia will go forward. Now, I do understand too that he's also talking about that it's hard for him to he can no longer get employment because he feels like they've blackballed him. Let's continue. The April 2024 complaint includes a laundry list of allegations of uh, misconduct of the intimate kind, fat shaming, and retaliation. Megan's reps have vehemently denied all allegations. On July 2nd, U.S. District Court Judge Gregory Woods granted substantial aspects of Garcia's case, specifically those concerning claims for a hostile work environment due to the longevity of his and Megan's work relationship. Now, he says he was her cameraman from 2018 to 2023. He initially filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court. And when he, blah, blah, blah. In documents obtained by USA Today and Billboard, Garcia recounts a 2022 Ibiza, Spain business trip in which Garcia was allegedly trapped in a moving vehicle as Megan engaged in schmex with another woman before him. Garcia, gay himself, claims that the experience left him completely uncomfortable, triggered, and unprofessional at work. And I think when we reviewed this case back when, I had explained that there are things that you do. Hey, Ernest, how are you today? Nice for you to join me. Appreciate it. The things that I had described to you all was the fact that when you are at work, you need to work. I do understand with people in the entertainment business that because of the hours and the long hours that you all have and the odd hours, because entertainers work odd hours than the rest of us. Entertainers work, night hours. They entertain, so they're working night hours. However, business is business and pleasure is pleasure. I don't know what his job entailed. Was he supposed to be taking pictures of her life or exactly what was going on? However, if you knew that you were going to engage in stuff like that, he should have been in a separate car, or he should have gone ahead separately. No, this is a whole nother. This is not Kelsey. This is her cameraman suing. Now, was Kelsey? Now, I don't know if Kelsey was there or not. I don't know if that was Kelsey or not. But what I do now, I don't think it was Kelsey because this was 2022, and her relationship with Kelsey stopped around 2020 during the Tory Lanez incident. But you have to get, and that's the same thing I said with Lizzo. You have to separate your personal from your professional. With Lizzo, I criticized the fact that you were asking people to go to a burlesque show with you. They are your dancers. They are your employees. Even if it was something to break the ice or something like that, still, that type of incident shouldn't have happened. Only because you don't know what people's level of engagement and things like that are. And what you think is not offensive, someone else may think it's offensive. So if you want to invite them to eat or pay for them to eat, that's one thing. But anything with entertainment, like movies and shows and things like that, absolutely not. Give your dancers an opportunity to have some personal time away from that. So if you are all after a show, If you wanted to allow them to have some downtime, say, hey, you won't be doing any work for the next 15 hours, 10 hours, or whatever that is. But don't invite them to a burlesque show. You need to keep as much distance between you and your employees as possible. Okay. You see where employees get caught up. Look at the Diddy case. Employees get caught up because you're asking them to do things that are illegal. Here you have a cameraman that is supposed to be documenting your life, but you put him in an uncomfortable situation, allegedly, uh, where you are involved in intimate relations in a car where he is present. And I think sometimes too, people look at certain things because let's be very clear: if the cameraman was a woman and Megan the Stallion was a man doing this, we would have all kinds of issues. So if it's not good for that scenario, it's not good for your scenario. And again, this is alleged because I was not there. I don't know exactly what happened. I am just referring to what the lawsuit says. Other than that one time, Garcia alleges he was repeatedly fat shamed and belittled. He claims Megan verbally harassed him and then threatened him. Don't ever talk about what you saw. These exchanges, the lawsuit alleges, make his work so intolerable that it made his job untenable. Now, here's the thing that I would say about that. You all that are in these types of businesses where your professional business requires a level of, it's not secrecy. Y'all know the word I'm trying to do, but it's not secrecy, but secrecy is the only word. If it calls for that, everybody in your employ should be signing an NDA, right? Because what she's doing, I don't think is illegal. However, having to tell somebody, don't talk about what you saw, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is have them sign a very comprehensive NDA. Now, am I advocating bad behavior? Absolutely not. But we also know that, again, celebrities have that type of job where people are attracted to them and gravitate to them, and they may not have their best interest in heart. And anytime anybody can get a payday coming, they will take advantage of that. They will absolutely take advantage of that. So, to kind of thwart that in the first place, NDA should be signed. And again, there should be a couple of degrees of separation between you and your employees so we won't have this problem. When Garcia complained to his bosses about his treatment, he says he was punished. His hours were cut, his salary reduced, and ultimately he was fired. He also says that he was blacklisted for more work in the industry for speaking out. Megan's team denies allegation, called Cameraman a con artist. Now he's worked for you for how long? 2018 to 2023? Okay. Megan Thee Stallion attorneys have forcefully pushed back against the suit. A release to Billboard Megan's attorney Alex Spiro. So she has Diddy's, Jay-Z, and all of their lawyers labeled the lawsuit a shameless money grab. And she also has Alec Baldwin's lawyer. This is an employment claim for money with no harassment claim filed and with salacious accusation to attempt to embarrass her. We will deal with this in court. While Megan herself has not come forward publicly since the judge's decision, she has called Garcia a con artist, framing the suit as an effort to extort payment instead of pursuing justice. So here's what the court ruled. I have, let me share this tab. Here is a copy of the ruling. And it is about 37 pages, and we definitely are not going to read all of these pages. You can definitely find this on Court Listener, but I wanted to go down to what the court ruled. So it says leave to amend. It says defendant's motion. Let me make this a little bit bigger. All right. Defendant's motion to dismiss are granted in part. I think I've lost something. But anyway, defendant's motion to dismiss are granted in part with leave to amend as described below. The court should freely give leave to amend when justice so requires. However, leave may be denied for good reason, including futility, bad faith, undue delay, or undue prejudice to the opposing party. Plaintiff fails to adequately allege facts sufficient to plausibly plead FEHA claims, overtime, and notice claims under California Labor Code. Overtime claims under the NYLL and abating and abetting claims under the New York human rights law. The court cannot conclude that further amendments would not cure these deficiencies in the amended complaint. The court therefore grants the plaintiff leave to file a second amendment complaint solely to cure the deficiencies identified with respect to these claims no later than 30 days from this order. So basically, he's giving him enough time to go back and to kind of polish up what he's talking about, because what he has so far, the judge says, I see it, but you are not on the right track. So for the foregoing reasons, defendant motion to dismiss are granted in part and denied in part. The following of plaintiff's claims are dismissed without prejudice with leave to amend as described above. Claims 3 and 6 as to corporate defendants. Claim 9, wages and overtime. Claim 11 and 12, Federal Equal Housing and Employment Act. I believe that's what that is. Federal Equal Employment and Housing Act. Claim 15, the Labor Code overtime, and Claim 16. They are dismissed without prejudice, leaving the opportunity for him to amend his complaint. Plaintiff's 13th claim for misclassification under California Code section is dismissed with prejudice. Means he can't come back with that particular one. The motion to dismiss are denied with respect to the plaintiff's remaining claims. So again, let's get back to Yahoo. Judge Wood's ruling focused on the probability of Garcia's core argument that he was subjected to poor working condition based on his sexual orientation. In particular, Woods determined that Garcia's account of what happened in the SUV accident in Ibiza was enough to create a reasonable inference of discrimination. Woods in his ruling said plaintiffs asked the court to draw the inference that Pete would not have engaged in group sex with other women in front of a heterosexual male, and that Pete felt comfortable engaging in group sex with other women in front of plaintiff because of plaintiff's sexuality and gender. This is not an unreasonable inference to draw from the facts alleged. Woods ultimately concluded that Garcia had a plausible pleading and that his work treatment was connected to his status of being a gay man. The court, though, rejected Garcia's retaliation claim, including those overpay, reduction, and blacklisting claims, as lacking evidence at this point in the case to support them. So he's going to have to go back to the drawing board in regards to all of that. So what do you all think about this case? What do you think about celebrities doing stuff like that? Like I said, there has to be a delineation between your personal and your professional. And I do understand that celebrities hire personal assistants to help them do whatever they need to help to have them do. However, there still has to be a delineation. There still has to be a delineation. What do you all think? Let me know down in the comments. All right. Real quick, we're going back to Diddy. And I went back because I couldn't figure out a couple of things. And I realized that Diddy, so far from what people are saying, and just from me looking when I asked Google, looks like Diddy has about 60 plus lawsuits in play. So let me go to TMZ. That's where I need to be. Give me one moment. I thought it was on the first page, but there's been so much news coming since then. I may have to hunt for it. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking up this article that TMZ wrote in regards to Sean Diddy Combs. And I apologize because I had it pulled up in another article, but then it's requiring me to subscribe, and I'm not going to subscribe, but I did see it in and that's my fault because I should have read it. Okay. Here we go. I have found it. It says here, Diddy, I'm on a hot streak in court. RAPE claim withdrawn from lawsuit. Now, it's my understanding that he has anywhere from 60 plus lawsuits pending against him. And I had asked the question, if you had followed my stream with all of my guests about Diddy and what does his current legal situation with him being found not guilty of the RICO, being not guilty of the X trafficking, however, but having two counts of being guilty of the transportation. My question has always been, how do you think that this particular verdict affects his numerous civil lawsuit claims? Because again, we find out that what the public believed a freak off was is not what it was. You know, everybody was looking at X trafficking of children and women, and just an array of the prostitutes in these parties and things like that. This is how things were building up. We have a lot of lawsuits that are talking about, him supposedly drugging people to, for him to engage in sex. But what we're finding is that there have been lawsuits with this with men, there have been lawsuits with this with women, but what we're finding out in particular with this criminal case, a couple of things have, in my opinion, and this is my opinion of Pam Entertainment TV, a couple of things have gone by the wayside. Now, is Diddy freaky? Yes, he is. But it doesn't, nothing was shown or proven to show that he enjoys X with the same sex. Okay. So we have not seen any type of proof showing that. He is a voyeur. That is true. But there's nothing showing that he indulges in same sex relationships. And so we notice that there are a lot of lawsuits that are claiming that. So I am interested to know, with the results of what's happening here at court, how does that play out? Do some of these lawsuits get thrown out? Y'all let me know. Yeah, he's got more than 70 civil lawsuits filed against him. And this is according after I asked Google. He's got a significant number of these lawsuits filed by Tony Busby. Busby alone has roughly 40 lawsuits against Combs. Also, let's see. But some of those lawsuits are talking about. Let me see. Let's see. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad so much that you watched it. The craziest thing is years ago, a man pew-pewed a Trump hotel in Florida years ago. He claimed to be yes, that is the person that there was a tape show played about Cassie threatened she had threatened somebody, that she was going to beat him up and do all that other stuff. He was that person because he was filming while Diddy was filming, and she told him that she was filming because he was trying to shop that tape around. There was a tape that he was trying to shop around, and also he claimed that he received an STD from that whole encounter. It's going to be interesting because most of the claims were the ones that I have read. Because I think after I saw about 10 of them, I just stopped reading them because all of them seemed to be pretty much the same thing. And all of those before, like I said, before the trial started, they all were under the premise. They all were under the premise that he was drugging and raping all of these people, men, women, and children. And now we realize that what the freak offs were just X games in the bedroom with other people. Now, he was using escorts and he was prostituting them. They were acting like prostitutes and he was paying them as prostitutes. So we understand it's that. So a lot of these civil law claims is going to be interesting to me because now that it has been proven exactly what the King's night, the hotel night, uh, the freak offs, exactly what they don't fit what they're saying about the lawsuits. Now, I don't want anybody to mishear me. I'm not telling you that these things did not happen. That's why they go to court. But I'm saying that more scrutiny because if he had been convicted under even if he had been convicted under the trafficking, they would have been he would have had a an uphill battle with all of those other things. But now that he's been done with just the transportation, it's going to be interesting to see because the last one that I had read, it was a male security guard who's out in the parking lot. He said Diddy offered him a drink and then he didn't know what was happening. And then he realized that he was being assaulted. So a lot of these things, and like I said, that particular lawsuit that I read came out during the time of the VMA lawsuit. And one of the things that I have said in regards to that is they're going to have to go back and go through these things because now he has the opportunity. Because if he's going to be sitting in jail from what I think at least 2.5 years, uh, because I think he's going to get 4 years, and I think they're going to give him time served, so he'd probably be in jail for another 2 years. I think that he's going to have enough time to go through these lawsuits and pick them all apart because right now he never did have any time because the criminal lawsuit was what was more important. And that's true. And so he has an opportunity to go case by case with these lawsuits. It's particularly the ones with Busby because Busby's name has been hit or miss, but he has the opportunity because he has an opportunity uh to go case by case with these different civil things. And I am quite sure that if he can poke enough holes and enough flaws in them like they did the VMA case, I think he'd probably get a lot of them dismissed. Don't know. But that's just the way I feel, because now people had the notoriety of the case. Now that the notoriety has kind of died down, and now that the government did not prove their case to the jury under a reasonable doubt, it's going to be something. Now, this is going to be interesting, because I will say this, and like I said, two and three things can be true at the same time. And like I have said before, and like I said on that panel, the jury did not believe the prosecution did not prove their case to the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense found a lot of holes in the story. Okay. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe that some of those things didn't happen. However, they couldn't prove it, and they couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Also, the prosecution's case hinged on Jane. Because here's the thing, and here's the trick. Because people are like, well, I can't believe the jury didn't believe that. I'm willing to bet you that the jury did believe a lot of those things in regards to the RICO. I do believe that they believed him. However, they did not believe Jane in the two things. They did not believe Jane in the trafficking. They only believed Jane with the transportation. I think that they believed all those things. But because the RICO is only back 5 years from the discovery, it only could go back to 2019. And so after 2019, there was a delineation, meaning that whatever was going on stopped. And then it didn't pick back up until he met with what's her name? Jane. And I think this is why Gina was crucial to the prosecution. The prosecution realized that Gina was the one that was crucial, because had Gina come in and had Gina testified, you would have seen I believe that the prosecution would have had a stronger case to be able to show that the behaviors continued in a continuous manner from 2004 to 2024. I just believe that. But I believe that that jury believed those things. But once they realized that they had to make sure that they had convicted Diddy of both the trafficking and the transportation with Jane, all that stuff that happened with Cassie didn't work out. Now, they thought they had something with Mia and Bonna, but those two stories ended up being the defense. Let's just say the defense did a good job in poking those holes in those stories. Now with Superhead, I didn't see that interview. People were talking about that interview, so I am saying this, have not seen that particular interview with Piers Morgan where they said that she was telling a tale. But one of the things that I can firmly see, she probably has some insight that other people don't have, because apparently this young lady was in different places and different modes and seen these powerful and successful men in different lights that we probably would never get to see them in. So like I said, I don't know what she said, but I can believe that she has seen something. Now, what she had described on Piers Morgan, they may have found out that wasn't true, but I can believe that she has seen some things. And that's the thing about these types of cases. When you start, you have to tell the truth and not embellish the truth, to try to get these clicks and views. And this is what's going to happen. I do understand that one of the people who was in the freak offs with Diddy and Cassie is suing. One of the escorts is suing. He's saying that he's suing both of them. And I think he's suing because he says that he received an STD from Cassie. Don't know. Not my business, but this is what's going on. And so again, we've got several lawsuits that's coming now. Now his lawsuit may be more practical. Everybody else's is probably going to have to go under a level of scrutiny that they don't want to have to attend to. So if you're looking at 70 lawsuits, a mess, a mess. Let's see what she said. She said in her book she slept with Puff. Now she's saying is that saying she's not sure if anything happened to her. Okay. Okay. Now I know her from being known as the reason why her name is what her name is. So would I say that she did not perform that on Puff? I can't say that or not say that. So I separate those incidents out. So there's a difference between fellatio, anal, and regular. And so she may or may not have had regular or the back door, so to speak. But I can believe that the fellatio she possibly had. Again, I don't know. I'm just telling you what my beliefs are. But I hear what you're saying that she got up there and she was, as we call it, backpedaling and pussy popping. So, child a mess. All right, people, that's what I have. I think what I will do is go back and see all of these particular lawsuits to see who has go back and see all of these different lawsuits and pick up on them. And I'll just kind of not go over every last one of them, but definitely we can definitely go over most of them. I'm not going to read them, but definitely get copies of it. So listen, hold on, let me show you this. Let me share the screen. So so far we've got Cassie, Joy Dickerson Neal, Liza Gardner, Anna Kane, Lil Rod, Grace Markhow, Crystal McKinney, April Lampros, Derek Lee, Audra English, Dawn Richard, Thalia Graves, Candace McCrary, Ashley Parham, Brianna Bongalan. So this was this was Bonna who testified at court. Latoya Grayson, Philip Pines. Now he would have been an interesting. I bet you this Philip Pines person, he would have been interesting, or he would have if they would have had Gina there, because Gina needed to have been there so that he could corroborate what was going on. He would have been interesting because you see the dates here, 2019 to 2021. We got Sarah from Making the Band. We've got Jordan Chaton, Chef Jordan. That's the chef that the other assistant said that he was fighting. We've got Kat Payson. We've got Yinka Adeshina. We've got it's so far. Look at all of these people. Uh-oh, did I lose them? So this right here says 34. And then you've got all of these down here that are Jane Doe's and John Doe's. Look at that. And I'm wondering if all of these are coming from Mr. Busby. So, yeah, so USA Today has a whole listing of all of this. Cassie is a target now. The 30 million and all the extras knew about it. Of course. Of course. And think about it. She's got 20 million from Diddy, and then she got 10 million from the what you call it. The lawyers took half. So in other words, she got she sued and won successfully $30 million. She probably has 15. And she still lives in New York, and $15 million, unless you buy your own apartment, or she has a modicum apartment, or if she moves to New Jersey or someplace like that, She's not going to get that much bang for her buck, particularly living in New York, because New York is expensive uh, on any account. Yeah, they got Dawn in there. Dawn, I think that they thought Dawn was going to give them one thing, and then she got caught up and got on stand and started talking about other stuff that she really wasn't going to give. And I think she may have expressed to the prosecution that she saw certain things, but she didn't. You know how people like to embellish, to get up there and to embellish, and that's why it's just so important to just to tell the truth. Now, would her testimony would have helped? No. Her testimony, Cassie's friend's testimony, even Kid Cudi's testimony, all of that didn't matter if the jury did not believe Jane. And the way the prosecution hinged their whole prosecution on Jane, I don't know why they didn't take as much effort that they needed to find Gina. Because Gina decided that she wasn't going to show up. So that would have shown that it would have been continuous. Now, with me saying all of that, one of the things that I think it's important to talk about is the fact that I do not believe the jury saw the criminal enterprise. What they saw, because again, I don't remember the prosecution fully setting down in stone that all of the money used for all of this was coming from Diddy's business accounts. I know that some of the assistants came in and said that, they charge certain things like the baby oil and the Astroglide on the business credit card, but that didn't explain the thousands and thousands of dollars that he had on hand. And like I said, they didn't have the accountant come in to explain any of that. They just had text messages saying that she was in a text thread with all of them. But they didn't have the concrete information to show that the accountant pulled this $30,000 from this business account or pulled this $30,000 from this personal account. They just let you know that he was withdrawing some money, but they didn't know what he was doing with all of that. Do you think he's ashamed? Because he knew what Cassie was when he was out there training her. I don't think he's ashamed at all. I don't think he's ashamed at all. I think he knew. I think that he offered her a way out and she took it. And all of this happened right after Kim Porter died. So I think he offered her a way out and she took that way out. But I just don't think he's ashamed because again, he knew what was going on before he while he was working with Diddy and before he married her. So I don't know about any shame. Yes, Ernest. When Jane stripped at another rapper's freak off while her favorite sexual was there, it was over. Absolutely. That whole case hinged on that. And I know a lot of people are saying, y'all don't understand consent. Y'all don't understand this. If she wanted to do it these many times and did do it the other time, but we couldn't. This was a case of you looking at reasonable people. And a reasonable person looks at all of that. Even if we decided that there was one incident where we felt like, hey, she may not have been in the mood, but she trudged on. The fact that she then turns around and says that she joined another rapper's King's Night because her favorite escort was there. And y'all, it is about credibility. And I do understand people want to be able to do what they want to be able to do. And they want there to be either no or minimal consequences behind what we do. I clearly understand I understand that feeling. But also when you've got someone, even though you don't like them now, Sean Diddy Combs is nobody that I've heard too many different stories. Don't know if they're true or not, but I've heard too many different stories that he leaves a bad taste in my mouth. He wouldn't be anybody that I would seek out for anything. Has he done some things, some good things? Possibly. Has he done some things? But more of the stuff that I've heard about him have not been in the positive. And then we see the fact that, you cannot make me not believe that this man is violent. We did see the tape of what he did to Cassie, and I don't care what line of thinking that you fall on, or whether you felt like she deserved it, or whether, I don't care, none of that. Visual evidence shows me that if he can do that to someone that he claimed that he care about, there's no way in the world you can't make me believe that he wasn't fighting with J. Cole. He didn't slap Drake. You can't even make me believe. Now, I don't know if he dangled her over the balcony, but I believe that he picked her up and held her up high enough and then slung her. You can't make me believe that he didn't do that. However, her testimony was so shaky that even if all those things, because even if we believed all those things to be true, and I've said this earlier in this particular broadcast, I believe Capricorn Clark. I believe what she said. However, because the jury did not believe Jane, they couldn't go back and rule on the stuff that she had. And people talk about, oh well, the jury, they didn't get it. How can you do this? They were following what was in those court instructions. And it clearly said under the RICO thing that a RICO has a statute of limitations of 5 years. However, if you can show that there had been continuity in the crimes, then you can convict under all those little predicate things. You can convict under them. If not, there was a break. So that meant that there was no continuity of anything. Had they convicted had convicted him of both the trafficking and the transportation of Jane, he would have been convicted under all those other predicate things. I just believe that. So I don't think that the jury was stupid or uninformed or didn't see what was before them. They looked at the jury instructions, and they followed it the best way that they could. And I think that that was a stumbling block. That is why I think, again, this is Pam Entertainment TV. That is why I think they were asking the questions, particularly about the RICO and everything. They read that particular part, and they knew that they had to convict her of both of those things before they could go back and give justice to Capricorn Clark. To convict him of the bribery, which I believe happened. To convict him under the forced labor. To convict him under the trafficking of Cassie. That's just what I believe. So again, he is going to be sentenced on October 3rd, and I will go back through this article and read the blurbs of what's going on with all of these cases and kind of come up with some kind of just to kind of see what we understand the freak offs and the King's Night wars. How do they match up with what's going on? So, y'all, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, what do you think? Now, also, too, make sure you all hit my my post page, my post, because I have a poll about the sentencing. And right before the sentencing, I want to go over those polls and see what you all are thinking about that. So go back to my post and answer those questions for me. What do you think? And it was about the sentencing. Hold on just one moment so you can see. And I also did the same one on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, excuse me, X, I have that same thing. And what I'll do on X is to I will pin it to my let me share this tab. So here it is right here. So this is it on X, and it's also on YouTube. So here is my poll. Basically, what I've asked, and it's the same questions, that Diddy's been found guilty of 2 counts of transportation for the person of the prostitute to. What will be his sentencing range in months? Remember, at sentencing, he would have served 12 months. So do you think he's going to get up to 23 months? And if he gets 23 months, he would have pretty much had time served. 24 to 48 months, 49 to 84 months, 85 to 120 months. So we've got another day on this poll. So y'all make sure y'all go back, because I am going to be incorporating it into my next stream. And here it is on my post. Ooh, a lot of you all have right here, as you can see it. So go back, because I'm going to incorporate that into things. So a lot of looks like a lot of you all are so far 24 to 48 months. That's what I'm seeing. A couple of you all think he's going to get 4 to 7 years. And then some of you all, like 7%. So 7% thinks he's going to get more than 7 years. But it looks like the consensus is 24 to 48 months. And we've got 14 votes. So you all make sure y'all head over either to Twitter, because you got one day over there on Twitter, or you can come back over here on YouTube and make a vote there. Morgan had 2 of the lawyers for civil suits on his show, and Busby looks like a lot of them won't go anywhere. In the past, you could shame Diddy and get a payment. Now everything is out there. Yeah. And that's what they were counting on. A lot of those suits were counting that he was going to try to settle as many of those suits as possible. They were counting that he was going to try to settle as many. And here's the thing, this is overkill. When you've got all these many different lawsuits, and everybody is jockeying for the point, at some point, will the judge say, this sound like class action lawsuits? Y'all need to come together. Class action lawsuit. And again, the only winners of those class action lawsuits are the lawyers, because they're going to get all their money up top. And you're going to have to split your money with all the people that are named in all of these lawsuits. So again, thank you all so much for rocking with me. I do appreciate it. I am going to get this air condition fixed, because Lord, when I tell you this, and I don't know, Ernest, you know this heat, because you and I live in the same place. This heat is no joke around here. And it's hot and sticky. So I am going to go in and figure some things out about how to keep cool. I may go over to my mom's house. I don't know yet. But anyway, y'all please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. So what do you all think about the cameraman being able to continue his lawsuit if he cleans it up a little bit? Y'all let me know down in the comments. And what do y'all think about Diddy and all of these civil lawsuits that are out here? Do you think he is going to settle with any of these lawsuits? Or are they going to fall by the wayside now that we, as the public, understand what Diddy's predilections are, and we understand what a king's night, a hotel night, and a freak off are? Y'all let me know down in the comments. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Play my outro.